Hey, what's up you guys, it's Ch30 and welcome back to my channel. In today's video we're going to go into chapter 30 of One of Us is Back by Karen and McManus. So let's get right into this video. This video may contain sensitive topics and foul language. If you do not wish to continue, I suggest you click off the video now. You have been warned. Chapter 30, Addie, Monday, July 20th. I can't stop watching the news. Now one teen is dead and another, the notorious Jake Wardian, who helped Simon Keller frame the Bayview 4, is missing. Liz Rosen from Channel 7 is at it again, breathlessly acting as if the total lack of updates over the past 24 hours is actual news. An entire town remains on edge, wondering what's next, and then Liz disappears as the television screen goes blank. Hey, I see twisting in my seat as my mother lowers the remote. I was watching that. I'm staging an intervention, Mom says. This isn't healthy, Addie. If anything important happens, we'll hear it from Eli. Eli's out of the loop, I grumble, even though it's not my brother-in-law's fault that I heard the news about Jake. From Detective Mendoza. I got multiple panicked voicemails from Eli while I was at the station, so he wasn't far behind. I want you to promise me something, Mom says, carefully lowering herself into a chair across from me. Her lime green sheath dress looks great, but is it made for sitting? Don't go running around town like you did after Simon died, putting yourself in Jake's path. Let the police do their job. Seriously, Mom? When have the Bayview police ever done their jobs? Mom ignores the extremely valid point. You're leaving for Peru next Friday, Addie. If you stay at home that entire time. I'm not sitting at home for 11 days. I break in, even though I've considered it. Somehow, no matter what my mother suggests, I find myself wanting to do the opposite. We need to take precautions with the monster at large, Mom says. I must be rolling my eyes because she purses her lips and adds, what's that look for? Nothing, I mutter. But then all of a sudden I'm tired of holding my tongue. I mean, sure, he's a monster now, but he wasn't always, was he? Mom flushes as I continue. We're terrible judges of character, aren't we? You and I used to think Jake was the greatest guy ever, so great that I was lucky to have him, and had to watch my step in case he ever figured out that I wasn't good enough for him. Ashton's the only one who ever saw through him, but we didn't listen. I can't bring myself to say the rest, and when I say we, I mean you, Mom, because how was I supposed to know? I was just a kid. I expect her to murmur some excuse and make a beeline for the nearest bottle of wine because that's Mom's go-to coping mechanism for any conversation she doesn't want to have. Instead, she smooths the wrinkle from her dress and says, I know, I let you down, Addie. That's so unexpected that I just blink as she adds, the thing is, I've never been good at being on my own. I was unhappy for most of your childhood, and I thought it was because things didn't work out with your father. And then with Troy, I thought if you and Ashton could avoid my mistakes, if you could find the right person and build a life together, then everything would be different for you. But it didn't work out that way, did it? Bit of an understatement, I say. Ashton figured it out first, Mom says. I couldn't believe it when she left Charlie. I thought she was giving up and that she wanted you to do the same. But she was so smart, wasn't she? So strong, and you are too. Oh, I say, eloquent as ever, but she's kind of throwing me for a loop here. I hate what Jake did to you, Addie, but even before that, I hate the way that he made you feel. I'm sorry I let that happen. Mom's run out of wrinkles on her dress now. She's smoothing out the cashmere blanket beside her. I wasn't much of a mother as to you, was I? At least you were here, I say, and add, no, I'm serious, as Mom huffs out a mirthless laugh. Dad wasn't. He pretty much forgot about us once he met Courtney. Nobody could ever say that you were, uninvolved. One of my earliest memories of my mother brushing my hair for a pageant, carefully separating the strands into sections and coaxing them into soft waves. I remember watching her face scrunched with concentration in the mirror and loving that all of her focus was on me. Maybe I didn't always get the healthiest form of her attention, but it was there, and it's still here, even though I've been treating her like a distant, somewhat annoying roommate ever since I moved back. Indeed, Mom says dryly, well, I could have done worse, I suppose, because you've turned out into an extraordinary young woman. I hope that you know that, Addie. This is the part where we should probably hug, but the women in my family aren't great at that. Even Ashton and I tend to collide awkwardly when we try. Before I can make an attempt, though, Mom reaches over and tucks a strand of my hair behind my ear. I do wish you'd go back to your natural color, though. Your hair was always your best feature. Normally that would annoy me, but there's something almost comforting about Mom not changing too much too fast. So instead of snapping that I Like my hair just fine, I say. You're going to be a great grandmother. Somehow she manages to both brighten up and cringe at the same time. How on earth did I get to the grandmother phase of life already? She asks. Instagram, I say. Absolutely not. Grandrea? It's a play on her first name, Andrea, but I can tell from her face she doesn't like it, so I try again. Big Mama, stop it. Gma, Gemma. From the way she says it, I can tell she's picturing an entirely different spelling. You know, that's really quite cute. Gma, it is then, I say with a smile. We'll work on the spelling later. 100,000 what? I ask Maeve. She mimes, zipping her lips. I wasn't supposed to tell you, so that you have to act surprised when Nate does, okay? She flips open her laptop as she sprawls beside me on my bed, grabbing an extra pillow to put between her and the headrest. It just slipped out. I'm so freaking excited for him. What a game changer, huh? No kidding. Meanwhile, my estranged parent and I finally had a heart-to-heart, and all I got was a pat on the back. I say, rolling my eyes so that Maeve knows I'm kidding, because yeah, of course, I'd love that kind of windfall, but I also love that it's going to Nate. I worry about him sometimes feeling trapped in Bayview while the rest of us, even me, although it's taken me a while, make plans to move on. Now he has options. It's cool that your mom is being supportive though, Maeve says, even if it took another Jake disaster to get you there. Yeah, it was nice, I say, resting my head on her shoulder as she toggles between websites on her screen. So, what's the latest? Is what Vanessa learned from Miss Roydian helpful? I think so, Maeve says. I mean, we've already had a pretty good idea that she and Alexander Alton were having an affair, but it's nice to have it confirmed. The question now is, did Alexander really drown or not? And if he didn't, who's responsible? She waits a few beats before adding, you know what I always say, right? Don't trust coincidences, I ask. Not that. Everyone gives themselves away online eventually. Wow. You've really been paying attention, Maeve says, sounding gratified, but no, her voice drops to a low whisper. It's always the husband. I lift my head so I can stare at her. You've literally never said that. Maeve huffs in annoyance. Okay, well, I don't have to because every true crime podcast ever has said it for me, she says. So you think Mr. Rordian? I trail off, trying to remember the last time I seen Scott Rordian. It was at Jake's trial, of course. He was seated as close to Jake as he could get and never looked my way once, not even when I was testifying. Killed Alexander Alton, May finishes. It's a possibility, right? He had motive, and if he's anything like Jake, he is, I gulp, in lots of ways, but would Miss Rordian still live with him after something like that? Maybe, Maeve says, if she didn't know, or if she was afraid of what he might do to Jake or to her if she left. Okay, supposing that's true, I say, how does it connect to what's happening now? Well, let's assume that Jake hasn't disappeared on his own like Phoebe said. Maybe he's the perfect and practice makes perfect Alexander Alton's last campaign. But why would his family do anything to Phoebe or to Reggie? I don't know, Maeve admits. Alexander's death is the only real clue we have, though, so I've been focused on his family, but his wife is dead, Chase and Chelsea are accounted for, and guess what? I found Christopher. She opens a tab showing a row of smiling people standing in a semicircle around a guy holding some kind of plaque. Let me introduce you to Penner Insurance Employee of the Month. Are you sure that's him? I ask, squinting at the screen. As soon as Maeve enlarges her screen, though, I see the resemblance to Chase. Where is Penner Insurance? Ohio, Maeve says. Maybe he's on leave of absence or something, I say. According to this article, though, the Employee of the Month ceremony happened the day Reggie disappeared, Maeve says. Oh, I say, momentarily stumped. Yeah, oh, so what's next? Maeve sighs. Beats me. I have zero alternate theories. I was going to ask Phoebe to set up another fake interview at Conrad and Olsen and see if she can learn anything more about Alexander Alton. Who knows? Maybe there was bad blood with some colleague who hated him. Advertising is a cutthroat business, right? She shrugs at my dubious look. I know, I'm grasping at straws. Doesn't matter anyway, because Phoebe's been totally MIA. I'm going to leave it off right there. I will see you guys in the next video for part 2 of this chapter. Bye.